Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope everybody is having a great week so far. Welcome Carolina, our chat moderator. Everybody, you can see her in blue in the chat. Hope you're having a great day, Carolina. Hi Fuang, hi Anna, Abraham, Lewis, nice to see many members in the class. Welcome Sagaretta, Ariadna, Ayadeji, good to have you all here with me today. Students, this is an IELTS listening class today. We will be listening to a part 1 and part 2 exam, going over strategies and going over the answers. The materials are brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. We are going to use these websites for the listening audio today. Our academic IELTS website looks like this. It's got this blue background and you can click this big red button. It's just off to my right there. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate, British Council partner, IELTS test registration center, and we help thousands of students every month to improve their English and score better on their IELTS exams. We are world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam preparation. We give you strategies that work. We're not going to give you a list of 10 words and tell you that that's how you get a band 9, because it's not. This is the general IELTS test here with the green background. Click this big red button there. And again, you're good to go. General IELTS, the listening is the same as the academic IELTS. So same format, same test. In fact, academic and general IELTS students or candidates will sit the listening exam together in most cases. Speaking is also the same. Reading and writing sections are a little bit different, everybody. All right, back to the point here. Premium students, those of you who have access to our complete website, hundreds of videos, practice exams, and much more, you have 2 extra live classes like this each week. I sent the Zoom links out yesterday, so you should see them. If you do not, send me an email so I can hook you up with those links. Everybody, the live premium classes, if you want to check those out, follow that link to this hidden playlist and you will get a good idea of how those work. The apps are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. The apps will link to the websites so you can study IELTS anywhere, anytime through your mobile. Just be cautious of your data usage, of course. Instagram is IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTS Help. For this week is listening today, speaking tomorrow, task 2 writing for premium students on Thursday, and speaking on Friday. Students, I'm just looking at my screen here. To me it looks like I'm a bit frozen, but I don't know on your end. So if, oh no, I'm unfrozen now. Ooh, there we go. A little bit of some YouTube love there. All right. Okay, students. So for a Band 9 video, check this one out. We've got another one coming for you soon. Lewis says, very clear. That's good. Carolina, it's just on my end, right? YouTube's playing tricks on me. All right. So let's do this. Listening, everybody. This is our listening exam for today. This is the typical appearance of a paper-based listening exam, of course, on white paper with black writing. I'm using the dark mode here to help your eyes a little bit. So it looks like this. Instead of section 1, the exam since 2020 or 21, they will say part 1, like that. Okay, there are 4 parts, and at the beginning, the listening has about 90 seconds of instructions. Let me show you what that sounds like. So again, this is our website here that we use for all of these lessons. To join the premium version, click that big red button. And then when you're in your My Student account, you've got tons of materials like computer-based practice exams, a full interactive course. You've got over 200 lesson videos, and you have audio CDs for your listening and reading and for pronunciation practice. This is the 6th exam, and this is part 1. So I'm going to click this, and for right now I'm just going to play the instructions that are typical to IELTS. Basically all IELTS exams will have this. If you don't hear these instructions, be careful, you might not be in an actual IELTS exam center. Okay, so here we go, everybody. Just listen to this. Now, this is going to be a strategy or a tip that I will show you, and I'm going to kind of talk while you listen to these instructions. So basically what I'm doing is, while these instructions are going on, and yes, you are allowed to do this, so if somebody is stopping you, they really shouldn't be. Okay, you're allowed to click through the listening section at any time in your computer-based exam, and you should be allowed to flip through your listening exam at any time during your paper-based exam. So when you hear the instructions,
this recording is copyrighted by Two Think One
so
Solutions Inc.
You have your
and World
exam,
ESL
and I'm going to keep the instructions a little bit
you will
quieter
hear
in the
several
background.
different recordings,
it's quite long. It's like,
and you will answer questions on what
it's
you
like
hear.
90 seconds long.
There will be time given to read the
So
instructions.
at this
and
point, what I'm
questions,
actually doing
and you will be
is
given a
I'm
chance
looking
to check
at
your work.
the topics of each of the
The
parts.
recordings will be played.
So here it says
only
Town
once.
Councillor Application
The
Form.
test is made up of
Okay, so
4
this means somebody
sections.
is applying for a counselor.
At the end
okay?
of the test,
then I
you
look
will
at the
have 10
questions and I
minutes
notice right
to
away that
transfer
there's the
your
name,
answers to
the
the answer
address,
sheet.
and more information.
Now turn to section
What is
1.
the campaign spending limit? So obviously this is kind of like an
Listening
interview
section
to
1.
want to be a town councillor or
You will
this
hear a conversation
role
between
in
a
government.
man and a woman.
Then I look at the
concerning
next
the
section.
requirements of
Okay,
running
so this
for
is section 2 or
municipal
part
office.
2. And I'm looking
First,
at the
you have some
top
time to
questions
look at
here. Who
questions
pays
1
the salaries
to
of the
5.
workers? Okay, so this is some kind of a company. And then there's sales, downloads, conversion. So it's something to do with computers and software. I can see that. So it's some kind of business meeting that's about software or computers. Okay, I can figure that out. Now look at section 3, okay, because in the actual exam we're doing
You will
all
see
of
that
these.
there is an example.
And then it goes, how
This
many
time
books
only,
has the guest
conversation
written? See,
related
it's still,
to
the
this
instructions are
question
still
will be
going.
played.
Okay.
Good
How many
morning.
books has the
You've
guest
reached the
written? So
information
something
office for
about a
municipal
guest
affairs. This is
writing
Florence
a book.
speaking.
What
Good morning,
description does
Florence.
the guest
My name
give
is
his
Walter,
book? Okay,
and
so
I'd like some information on running for
it's still something
municipal
about the
office
book.
in the upcoming
And then
election.
I'm going to
You're in
go
the right
to
place.
section
The first
4.
piece of
Now it's called
information I'll
part
need
4.
from you is the
And then
specific
I'm
office
going to
you'd
look
like
at the
to
first
run
question.
for.
What phenomenon
Town councillor,
created the
I'd
first
imagine.
roads?
The man says
So
he
here
would
it's
like
something
to
about
run for town
roads.
councillor.
Okay, so I figured
this
out
has
that
been
it's
indicated
roads,
for you.
going backwards, books,
Now we
some
begin.
kind of computer, and then back
should
to where
answer
I'm
the
at, which
questions
is
as
a
you
town
listen,
councillor form.
because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning. You've reached the information office for municipal affairs.
And then notice how it just starts. So that's how much the instructions go for in the IELTS, okay? And I was a little bit slower because I was explaining to you what to do, but obviously if I'm not talking at the same time and I'm just looking at the content and kind of looking at those first couple of questions and the key points and topics, then I can figure out that you know, my part 1 here is some kind of application to run for office or to get a position. If you know, if you're not sure about politics and so on, then it's fine, it's okay to get some position or some job. right? You can even just think about it that way if you're not sure what a town councillor is or what a politician is. It's some kind of application for some kind of job or position, okay? And then part 2 is some kind of business meeting for computers, software, okay? And then part 3 is some discussion on a book, okay? So that's what that was about. And then part 4 has something to do with the history of roads. Okay, so ideally, in a perfect world, everybody, when you're sitting the IELTS and you get going with the listening, it's the first section and it's the first part, and we will do the test in just a moment, just giving you this big tip here. And then you're kind of getting these ideas before you start. Now, why is that? Well, remember, everybody, that part 1 is the easiest, right? And so part 1 is much easier than parts 2, 3, and 4. So you really want to get some foresight on those more challenging topics so that your brain can start to scan its memory banks for your English and experiences related to those topics. Okay, everybody got that? So that's why you want to do it. And of course, the second really big one there is visualize. So okay, so see yourself, right? So when we have this part 1 here about the application to run for office or application to get some job, maybe you can picture yourself sitting across from a person doing a job interview. Let's give them a tie. And you've got your table there. Okay, and you're sitting across from this individual, and you've got some questions. Okay, so they're happy, you're happy. Let's give you some hair. Let's give this person some hair. Maybe you've got your resume, okay, and you've got some questions, right? And this person's got some answers for you. Okay, so what kind of questions are you asking? What kind of answers are you giving? So you're thinking about those. All right, so my first tip again is just this, and this alone can help you to get a half band to 1 band more on the listening test, as long as you stay calm and focused and you are visualizing again the content. Okay, all right, so having said that, let's do this again. So we'll practice this together, and this time we will look at part 1 and we will answer the questions. Okay, so let's do this now. Everybody, make sure that you do not put your answers into the chat. Okay, make sure that you save it till the end. We'll go through the answers together, and then you will have a chance for sharing your answers once this listening part has commenced. Okay, so here we go, everybody. Let's do this. So again, back to our website here, aehelp.com. Okay, this is what your My Student account looks like once you've logged in. For those of you who want 8 full computer-based practice exams, check out Test Glider here. We've got a great partnership with them. Okay, let's rewind this and start this again, and then here we go.
Solutions Inc. and World ESL Tutors. This recording is copyrighted by 2 Think One Solutions Inc. and World ESL Tutors. You will hear several different recordings, and you will answer questions on what you hear. There will be time given to read the instructions and questions, and you will be given a chance to check your work. The recordings will be played only once. The test is made up of 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Listening Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a man and a woman concerning the requirements of running for municipal office. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example. This time only, the conversation relating to this question will be played.
Good morning. You've reached the Information Office for Municipal Affairs. This is Florence speaking.
Good morning, Florence. My name is Walter, and I'd like some information on running for municipal office in the upcoming election.
You're in the right place. The first piece of information I'll need from you is the specific office you'd like to run for.
Town Councillor, I'd imagine.
The man says he would like to run for Town Councillor, so this has been indicated for you. Now we begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning. You've reached the Information Office for Municipal Affairs. This is Florence speaking.
Good morning, Florence. My name is Walter, and I'd like some information on running for municipal office in the upcoming election.
You're in the right place. The first piece of information I'll need from you is the specific office you'd like to run for.
Town Councillor, I'd imagine.
Great. I need some information from you in order to get you on the ballot this September. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, I'm ready.
This should only take a few minutes. OK then, let's start with your surname, Walter.
Colchester. Colchester.
And Walter is spelt in the regular fashion?
Yes, Walter.
OK, next I need your date of birth.
I was born the 11th of December, 1979.
The 11th of December 1979 makes you 36 years old at the time of the September elections. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Great. I'll need your national insurance number.
My national insurance number is WC 285-698-33.
WC 285-698-33.
That's right.
Great. And the last pieces of information I need from you are your current address and phone number.
I live at 23 Shaftesbury Lane, Plymouth, and you can reach me on 01752 667 835.
Wonderful. Next, I'll give you some information on running for municipal office.
You now have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 6 to 10.
First of all, you should know that you are one of 15 candidates so far that have registered for the 4 town councillor positions. Since the deadline for registration is in a week, I do not anticipate this number increasing by more than a candidate or two. Second, please know that there are 3 all-candidate debates, of which you must attend 2 in order to qualify for office.
I have to participate in debates.
Yes, that's right. They are on the 14th and 28th of August, and the final one is held on the 4th of September. They'll be held at the local community hall on Ashford Street. Each one begins at 6 o'clock in the evening.
That sounds fine. Is there anything else I need to know?
Yes, there is. Do you plan on spending money on your campaign? This could be on adverts in newspapers, promotional signage, or other advertising.
Well, I was planning on taking an ad out in the local paper, yes.
Not a problem, but please keep in mind that there is a strict £2,000 limit on campaign spending for town councillors. All expenses must be reported to this office. Overspending will result in disqualification.
I don't think that should be a problem.
Oh, and one more thing, Mr. Colchester. There is a £50 registration fee for each candidate for town councillor. You may pay this fee over the phone by credit card, with a cheque in the post, or in person with cash, credit or debit. How would you like to pay?
I live right by the office, so I'll drop by this afternoon to pay in person.
My assistant will take care of that for you. I think that is all I need from my end. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. Thanks for your help.
You're welcome, and good luck.
That is the end of section 1. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, students, and take that half minute to check your answers, and then wait for part 3. Okay. So here, I'll go over some strategies with you. So notice a couple of interesting pieces, and we're not going to do the answers just yet. We'll do them all together at the end. So again, I went through the 4 parts. I visualized them. I showed you the key information that you have to pay attention to when they're giving you the instructions. So you get an idea that part 1 is about this town councillor. Part 2 is some kind of a meeting with a business around software or computers. Part 3 is some kind of discussion of a book. And part 4 is to do with something around roads and the history of roads, right? Now here, notice the pacing. This is a form, and the answers did not come in the same order. So you had the name, and then I think you had the date of birth, and then the national insurance number, then the address, and then the phone number. So the form will come at this in one time, but not necessarily in the right order. So just be really careful about that. And notice how they gave these answers twice, some of them. So they gave this one twice, the name was spelt twice, but not always. The phone number, I think it was the phone number, was just once. So just be careful. Try to catch it the first time, but don't rush. If they give it to you a second time, then check it when they give it to you that second time. Okay. Now, here we had a little table. Okay. In the table, it's really important to pay attention to the given information and the heading of the columns, like date, time, location. Okay, so we've got Ashford Street, and very importantly, we have second debate. So I know that there's probably at least a first debate, and maybe more here. So, and there was a third debate. What that means is I have to listen carefully, because this is the second debate. And indeed, there were 3 dates, 2 of them in August, 1 in September. The one in September, Jaspreet, was wrong. And the reason, Jaspreet, that you're getting so many of these wrong in the chat is because you're rushing, right? This is actually August 28th is the correct answer. The third debate will be in September. Okay, so you can't rush, students. You have to really go step by step and just be very careful of what you're doing. Okay, all right. When you have the money given, pay attention to the symbols. So here it's pounds sterling. And so you want to just write the number. You don't need to write pounds or anything like that. It could be wrong if you write pounds. So just write the number, and you should know that, okay, here I'm paying attention for a number. All right. Now in this last one where you have to choose 3 for question 10, instead of trying to quickly pick out the correct answers from these six choices, what I do is I write notes. And here I wrote down, you can pay on the phone, by credit card, through the post, by check, or in person by check, cash, or credit. So that's what I wrote down, and then I'm going to match those with the correct answers in just a moment. But before we do that, and before we go through the answers, we'll do all of the answers in one fell swoop today. I'm going to go back to our audio and just keep going, just to get your listening really trained up. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to go to listening part 2. So again, listen. Do not put your answers in the chat. Wait till the end. We'll go through all the answers of part 1 and part 2 together when we have them all. And at that time, I'm going to just brush over these strategies one more time so you're really clear on what is happening. Okay, here we go, everybody. Part 2, get ready to listen and answer. Remember, you do not hear the recording a second time. Okay, so be very attentive and get ready, because part 2 is quite a bit more difficult. One of the reasons for that is you often have multiple speakers with different English accents. Here we go.
Now turn to section 2. Take some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Listening section 2. You will hear a recording of 3 people discussing strategy for an upcoming meeting with investors. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully to the interview and answer questions 11 to 16.
Thank you both for coming in for this preparatory meeting. As you know, we have an extremely important meeting with our investors next week. While I'm more than confident in the work we have done over the past year, we must be prepared to justify our progress to our investors. After all, they are the ones who pay our salaries. First, I want to review the positive outcomes we've achieved over the past year. This will make up the bulk of our presentation. Amy, would you like to give us a rundown on this front?
Sure. We've achieved many positive outcomes over the past year, and furthermore, we've achieved more in the past 4 months than in the previous 8 months. So we're certainly showing significant progress. First, and most important, sales of our app are up 50% from last year, totaling 586,000 units in the past 12 months, up from 390,000 units in the previous year. This is great progress. Second, we're achieving a higher purchase rate. While our sales are up 50%, the number of total downloads has remained relatively constant. This means our conversion rate has increased 50% as well. This clearly demonstrates that our efforts in this area have been fruitful. By targeting the conversion rate instead of the raw download rate, we have raised our standing and search result priority within the application stores. This will eventually lead to a higher download rate and even more sales. The upward trajectory here is very clear. We have also decreased the complaint rate from 2.5% to 1.5%. While our goal is to get this rate as close to 0 as possible, this decrease represents a positive outcome and shows that our efforts to increase customer satisfaction have been successful.
Yes, but if I may interrupt, I actually have to disagree on one point. I don't believe it should be a goal to get the complaints rate down to 0. While we certainly don't want a high complaint rate, the resources spent on getting the complaint rate down are better spent on increasing downloads and increasing the conversion rate. I think this is an important point to be made to the investors. While we certainly value the quality of our product, we are much more focused on maximising the value of the investor's investment. I think such a tack will go over well with the investors.
You now have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 17 to 20.
That's a great point. We really want to emphasize that we are doing everything we can to optimize and maximize the money and resources we've been supplied with. Speaking of which, are we all agreed that we will be asking for 20% increase in operating budget?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. And how are you going to justify such an increase?
Well, certainly by pointing to the statistical outcomes you previously referenced, but also by our need to expand. We need to increase our catalogue of apps, and to do this we will need to hire at least 2 additional developers. In addition to this, I think we are now at the point in our business where hiring a market analyst would be justified. Such a person could be charged with finding niches to exploit within the market. Right now, our operations in this regard are rudimentary at best, and an expert in the field could help increase our sales volume significantly. Such an expert's salary might take up 5% of our operating budget, but could lead to a 10% increase in sales or more. The 5% difference would result in a net income increase of almost £100,000.
I agree. Hiring a market analyst is long overdue. One more justification for a budget increase is an across-the-board pay rise, if only at the rate of inflation. 2%, say. This would go a long way to increasing worker morale and output quality. In addition to this,
That is the end of section 2. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, students, and you want to make sure that you're checking your answers during that half minute. So again, as you heard, it's a lot more challenging. There's different people with different accents talking. They're talking numbers. There's not really a repetition, a little bit maybe, but not much. So you really have to pay attention. Okay. All right. Let's
Now
do this,
turn to
everybody.
section
Let's
3.
stop the audio first of all.
Take
before we
some
get
time
into
to look
section
at-
3. By the way, we will do section 3, or I should say part 3 and part 4 on Tuesday of next week. So if you want to get ahead of that, what you can do, if you're not already a premium user, is get access to our premium IELTS course by going to aehelp.com and again clicking that big green, or I should say, well, that's green, big red button off to my right there. Okay, so and then you get all 6 practice exams as part of your package. It costs about $40-50 US, and it's a one-time payment. All right, everybody. So let's do this. Let's go through the answers now. We'll get to part 3 and then I will give you some more content there, but we'll jump back to part 1 now and go through the answers. I'm sure you're all excited to find out what those are. Yeah, the difficulty really jumps from listening part 1 to listening part 2. I think that's the biggest jump. I know some of you are like, whoa, that was difficult. Yeah, from part 1 to part 2, it's a big jump for sure. It is. It's a big jump. Okay. Hamza, yes, I'm definitely alive. If you're wondering if this is a live lesson, then yes, Hamza, it is a live lesson right now. Okay, so let's do this. This man applying for town councillor has to give some details about who he is, starting with his name. His name is Walter, spelled W-A-L-T-E-R. They spell that. And then what is his family name? So they spell it out twice. Let's see who got it. Yeah, Angry Potato. I'm going to give you some multiple choice question tips here real quick. Grace says it's Colchester, spelled C-O-L-C-H-E-S-T-E-R. It is. It's Colchester. Now, can you write all capital letters? Yes, you can. Should you? Maybe. Students, you should learn capitalization correctly before the IELTS. So there's a reason why. Why do you think I say that? You should learn correct. You need to learn correct punctuation. It's really a part of punctuation, which includes capitalization before your IELTS exam. Now, there's a reason for that, right? Writing correctly without all capitals is the fastest. Okay. The writing section, you must not write all capitals. Also, this helps to understand the reading section better. Okay, so that's why you want to know how to use capitals. Now, having said that, if you want to just make sure in the listening section that you're not making mistakes with capitalization, you could transfer your answer sheets during the paper-based with capitals. It's up to you, but be careful. Okay. All right. Address. Where does this man live? He lives somewhere Shaftesbury Lane. Now, it didn't come in this order, so I think we got the date of birth before we got his address. But what was his address? Rajendra, definitely was not WC28. It was something 23 Shaftesbury Lane. Yeah, it was just a number, right? It was just the house number that was missing there. And it's like, that's 23. He lives at 23 Shaftesbury Lane, and the city is Plymouth. That's right. Okay, when was he born? What is his birth date? Okay. Atharwa says he's born on the 11th of December, 1979. Yeah, so that's 11. You can just use abbreviations like December. The correct abbreviation is with a period. So December 11, 1979. You don't need the TH there, students. You can just kind of do it like that. Okay. What's his phone number? What's this man's number? How do we call him? How do we get a hold of him? Now, with phone numbers, they will often repeat, but again, in this case, they did not. So there's no guarantee that they're going to repeat the number. It's not like all numbers in part 1 and 2 will be repeated. They usually do, but there's no guarantee. Okay? So just be really careful. Fatima, the date, just write it exactly like I did. DEC 11, or I should say DEC dot 11, 1979. Okay? All right. I didn't catch the phone number, so you need to give it to me, everybody. I didn't write it down, and I didn't want to give you the answer. Okay. So nobody's got the phone. Nobody, not one person got the phone number? Uh-oh. Well, it's maybe time to listen to some number dictations. Then definitely practice that. Okay, so in partners, Fatima says 017 something something something. Yeah, it's not going to get you a correct answer, but we'll get the 017 down. All right. Okay, students. I'll give you a little bit of help here this time, but it's not going to work like this on the IELTS. Okay. So let's check out what that phone number was. Here we go. Let's figure this out. This is coming from exam 6. Here we go. And we can jump in the audio, so
This recording turn to section 1. To this question will be played.
Is the specific office you'd like to run for?
Town councillor, I'd imagine.
The man says he would like to run recording a second time.
Information Office for Municipal Affairs. This is the first piece of information I'll need.
Yes, I'm ready.
This should only take a few minutes.
Yes, WALTER.
Okay, next I need your date of birth.
I was born the 11th of December
1979. So we got that
The
correct.
11th of December 1979 makes you 36 years old at the time of the September elections.
Here comes
Is
the
this
phone
correct?
number.
Yes, that's correct.
So,
Great. I'll need your national insurance number.
My national insurance number is WC 285-698-33.
WC 285
285-698-33.
That's right.
Okay.
Great. And the last pieces of information I need from you are your current address and phone number.
I live at 23 Shaftesbury Lane,
Okay, that's
Plymouth.
correct.
And you can reach me on 01752 667 835.
Wonderful. Next, I'll give you some information on running for municipal office.
It's very
You now have
important
some time to look at question 6.
to get those numbers, everybody. Listening to phone numbers in English is a very important skill. 01752667835. That is the correct number. Okay, again, practice that. Lewis says bingo. Yes, Lewis. Bingo indeed. Okay, so let's get into the rest of it. The man has to attend a couple of debates. The second debate, when will it be held? What's the day? I'm sure many of you got this. Again, keep it simple. You just need the abbreviation. It was August 28th. Yes. Okay, so August 28th, you needed that piece there. The time is 6 p.m. If you just wrote 6, so just 6 would be wrong. This would be wrong. Okay. You have to have 6 p.m. Because it's 6 in the evening, not 6 in the morning. You could write 18 as well. Okay. But you need to write 6 p.m. like that. Okay. Or you could just write it 6 p.m. like that. Sure, that's okay too. It's all okay. Spacing doesn't matter there. Just as long as you have 6 p.m. Okay, not just 6. Just 6 will not get you a correct answer. Okay, what is the campaign spending limit? Just a number. You already have pounds. TechCrunch, it's not 200. It is, or it was, you wouldn't really be able to do much with 200 pounds. It's 2,000 pounds. So the correct answer there, everybody, is 2,000. 2,000. Okay, how much is the registration fee? So he has to pay for this registration that he's doing. You don't need a comma here, everybody. I know that some people like to put those commas, but don't put a comma. It's confusing. Just 2,000. You don't need to put the word limit, mod, just 2,000. Here it's 50. Yeah. 50. 50 pounds for registration. Very good. Now again, as I said, when you have these multiple choice, so somebody was asking me about multiple choice, this is a kind of multiple choice. So what are the 3 ways of paying the registration fee mentioned in the recording? You've got phone, check, in person, check or cash or credit. Okay, so by phone, it has to be credit card, right? Logically. You can't pay cash on the phone. Anybody ever try to just take a phone and then smash money into it? Doesn't work. Neither does a check. So you really have to just do credit card by phone. So credit over the phone is E. Yep, there we go. Check. The only way that you could do check other than in person is check by post. Cash by post would be a really bad idea, so let's not do that. That's how you lose money. Nobody's going to ask you to do that. Okay, if they're doing that, it's fraud. Direct debit, check by post. There it is, check by post. All right. So that looks good. And I could do credit in person. Yeah, sure. So it's B, C, and E. Carolina's having a good chuckle. Good. It's good to laugh. Yep, Carolina says, I want to try though. I want to see what happens when I just take a bit of money and just start smacking my phone with it. I'm paying you. Come on, I'm paying you. Give me the service. Send me that brand new necklace I've been looking for. Karthik says, what if I have one or two answers correct? Unfortunately, it's a good question, Karthik. Unfortunately, because it's one question only, it's question 10, you need to get all three of them correct for it to be correct. If you get one wrong, the whole question is wrong. Okay, so good question, Karthik. You can't just get one or two wrong. Okay, it has to be, or sorry, you can't just get one or two correct. It has to be all correct. Okay, now we get into part 2. I know this was more challenging, students. I know it was. But that's what it is. You have to get ready for it. So who pays the salaries of the workers in the recording? It was one word. They said it a couple of times. Salman says the beginning was a little bit confusing. I know, Karthik. I know. It's hard knock life for sure. But it is what it is. Investors, very good, Lewis. Yeah, investors. I mean, if you listen carefully, they did say this one a couple times. They say, after all, it's the investors that pay us. The investors. Yeah. Okay, then write no more than 2 words and or a number. The current year, the sales, we don't know. Changes from the previous year, up 50%. Downloads not given. It's a constant. Okay. All right. The sales was a number. Anybody catch that number? Please tell me you caught that number. I don't want to play the audio again. Just kidding. It was, what was it? Anybody catch it? It was like 600 and something thousand, 500 and something thousand. Anybody catch that one? 12 was definitely not given. Thank you, Clash. Clash says that was 586,000. Thank you. Some of you caught that. Great. Yeah, 586,000 sales in the current year, up from 50%. Very nice. Good. Okay, downloads were not given, and they're constant. The conversion, the purchase rate, not given. It was up something. How much was it up? I think it was a pretty straightforward number. Wasn't it up like 50%? I'm pretty sure. Number 13 was up 50%. Right? Just like that first one. Yeah. Grace says, yeah, it was up 50%. Thank you, Grace, for agreeing with me. Amitaj says also, yeah, that was 50%. Okay, good. Conversion purchase rate. Yeah. Complaint rate. This one was a hard one, everybody. I know. You're going to be like, oh, come on. Are you serious? So complaint rate, the current year is 1.5%. The change, and this is where you really have to pay attention here, change from previous year was tricky one. You have to do a bit of math, everybody. 1%. I know IELTS is cruel. No, they're not. They're just making sure you're really paying attention, especially those band 8, band 9 students. You have to pay attention to everything. So it was down from the previous year, which was at 2.5%. So here, students, the reason why you're like, what? Why though? I thought I heard 2.5%. Yeah, because it was 2.5% minus 1.5%. So the change is actually equal to down by 1%. It's a tough one. So the correct answer there was 1%. You had to do a little bit of math. That was a sneaky one. It's the change from previous year, right? You have to really just kind of flow with that table. So yeah, Clash says, ooh. Grace says, what the? All right. What point do the two investors disagree on? Now here, you had to, so somebody asked me, like, what do I pay attention to in multiple choice? Well, in multiple choice, you want to make sure you listen for the answer. And I remember they said getting the complaint rate down. I disagree on that. So was it ways to increase the conversion rate? No. How to convince investors to increase funding? Getting the complaint rate as low as possible. That was the answer, because that matches my answer, right? So it's C. C is the correct answer there, not B. It was C. Number 16, what is of primary importance according to the employee? Maximizing the value of investors' investment, increasing the funding of their company to hire new people, convincing the company to increase downloads and raise the conversion rates. Again, that's hard to figure out if you're trying to read all that while you're listening. It was basically make the investors happy. I think they actually said something like that. Well, let me tell you what makes investors happy when you maximize their cash. So it's A. Absolutely. Very good. Nice job, Grace. Nice job, Rajendra. Amitaj, Lewis, very good. Fuang, I hope you're having a good day. I know you're busy with university. Amitaj says, yay. I don't know if yay's correct, but I'm guessing you got the correct answer. All right, summary completion. A little bit more to go here, everybody. Write no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. The employees are requesting a 20%. This one was pretty straightforward. Hopefully everybody got it. Increase in funding from the investors. This will allow the company to hire 2 additional. This was relatively easy as well. Hopefully you got it. Developer. Don't write 2 additional developer. You can join twins. 2 additional developers. Remember your plurals. Amitaj says, I got that wrong. How do you get that wrong? Don't get that wrong. Listen again, Amitaj. It's in your premium course. All right. Broaden their catalog of apps. They would also like to hire a, this one was a little bit tricky, market analyst. Not analysis, market analyst. A person who does it is a market analyst who analyzes the market, checks out the trends, what's going on. Okay. Who would be in charge of finding new areas for development. Finally, the team wants a pay raise pegged to the rate of inflation. 2% was just an example. They want it to be pegged to the rate of inflation. If the rate of inflation is 8%, then that's what you want. These days, it's definitely more than 2%. So rate of inflation. Those are your marks, everybody, or those are your correct answers. Question here is, how did you do? What did you get from 20? Now, in a perfect world, for those of you going for a band 6.5 or more, you're looking to get at least 16 out of 20. If you're losing more than 4 marks for part 1 and part 2, you got to be careful. Part 3, part 4 are even more challenging, so you can lose more there. So if you're looking for those higher bands, you need to get at least 16. Okay, Lewis, 18 is not bad. Ayadeji, 16 is pretty good. Abraham, 10, it's not going to cut it. I won't lie to you. Fuang, 18 is pretty good. Wordworth, 10, time to revisit. Students, there is a score calculator on our website. It's here at the very bottom, IELTS score calculator. So when you finish the entire listening, you can type in, I got 32, and it will show you it's a band 7.5. Okay. Again, you can just join the premium IELTS by clicking the red buttons all along the website. I will do part 3 and 4 of this listening exam next Tuesday, so you can get the full exam experience. Join the premium version if you can't wait. It's definitely worth it. It's a good way to review. $40-50 US is not a lot to invest when you have such an expensive exam. General IELTS students, it's the green background, gieltshelp.com. Archana, market analyst with capitals. It is a common noun, so it's up to the examiner. If they're a little bit hard, they could mark you wrong. Okay. If you're going to write that, just write all uppercase. Carolina, thank you for putting the links into the chat. That's really good. Ryan and Amara, a shout out back at you in Saudi Arabia. That's awesome. Okay. Pegged means like related or connected to the same, attached to, right? When you peg, you attach. Okay. It's a good question for you, Boris. Students, I'm back tomorrow with speaking. And for premium students, you've got 2 more classes this week. Task 2 writing and speaking on Thursday and Friday. It's just another perk of being a premium student. That's it for today's class. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. I enjoyed your company. And thank you, Carolina, for moderating the chat. That was really good. I will see all of you hopefully tomorrow for some speaking. And we're going to use Zoom for that. So I will actually talk to you. So install Zoom for tomorrow's class if you don't have it. Okay. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. Much love to all of you, wherever you are in the world today. Bye for now.